This leads me into the next section of my presentation, which is the risk section. So in this section here, we want to look at a couple of different things. We want to look at the decision tree, a risk assessment, and also an impact analysis of the decisions we've made. And for this risk assessment, we're assuming that you are a WALD, a maximum risk criteria, which assumes that the client is rational yet profit seeking, which you are obviously, because otherwise you wouldn't be in business. So we'll begin with the impact analysis because this will lead us into the next two sections a little bit better. So the impact analysis looks at the impact of a couple of different decisions that the business makes. So on these axes, we've got ease of implementation of the decision and the impact of the decision of a certain way to go. So this is a bit of a spoiler, but we've modeled a couple of different decisions. So the first one being do nothing, internal, which is obviously easy to implement, and the impact it has is quite low. The do nothing to outsource the delivery of the food delivery process, the ease of implementation is relatively easy, and the impact is a little bit better. Now we've got to the next one, which is to acquire the drones and outsourcing the drone delivery system, so not running it internally. Ease of implementation is a bit more difficult, however the impact is better. And the last but not least is to acquire the drone delivery system, manage it internally. It's probably the most difficult of all the different decisions and ways to go. However, it's got the highest impact, and there's high to low, high being the best impact and low being the lowest impact or return on the investment. So how we got to those decisions is using a decision tree diagram. So this is just a high level decision tree of some of our thinking around getting to those decisions. In this decision tree, we start off with the first question, which is obviously the decision we're trying to make is about the product. So it's the product decision, and this decision will influence the relative mediation power of the external environment pressures, and while maximizing our SWOT analysis parameters. So maximizing our strengths and opportunities while minimizing weaknesses and threats. So our three different options go as follows. So we have do nothing, and it has a 10% median power of mediating the external and environment and maximizing the SWOT analysis parameters. So it's a general improvement on 10% on just relative business strength. To outsource the current do nothing delivery mechanism, 25% improvement, while acquiring the drone food delivery system has an advantage of 75%. Obviously this is a preferred decision, but just to finish off on these two, this is basically a dead-end decision because it limits our choice of any other decisions or way to maximize the return on the project. So after we've chosen one of these, there's nothing really more to think about. So the next decision we get to is product control decision. So who will retain control of the product? This decision will influence the relative success chance of the product as well as relative cost. So what this decision does is it'll just either improve on this decision, add more cost, and the cost will be relative to the decision that we make. So the sum of all these will end up with an overall score for each different option, and that's how we get to determine the best course of action. So just to move on, however, the first decision is to keep the delivery system in-house. With this, our chance of success increases by 40% on top of this risk mitigation here, while our cost increases by 30% as well. So the 30% decrease in the cost is essentially a decrease in the success chance. This is all in relation to ultimate return on the project. However, when we outsource the project, our success chance goes up while our cost goes down. Cost increases, of course, sorry. So our overall scores in calculating these two parts are as follows. So in the in-house retention of the drone food delivery system, our score is 1.7. Excuse decimal places, it's just me being pedantic and accurate. While when we outsource it, multiplying all the different parameters, we get 1.57. So obviously this is the best choice to go with. Now this is just a high level decision tree. These are high level assumptions as well, which can be tailored by your expertise as well. We strongly suggest you do that and revise some of these scores and excuse that traffic, and that's how you'll be able to make the best decision possible. Now while we compare that to the other two choices, the do nothing is 1.1 and the outsource of current is 1.25.